So, opening things up here, Halls of Montezuma, moving into the actual action phase. And here's the Mexican hand. Number of cards, some of which are kind of interesting. Let's just take a look. We got two that if the event is done, it's removed from the game. One of them is usable by the Mexicans in particular. It's you're able to use it as a response in a battle. And it looks interesting. I really don't understand it all that well, but it's a big 4-point card, which can be done to move even some of their most reluctant leaders. The other cards, nothing looks all that terribly interesting. Malaria, I probably want to use that, do some step losses. In particular, I don't want to be playing lots and lots of these cards for moving forces because there's heat, and heat's going to cause step losses. So if I can do anything of value with the events, I think I'd probably rather. But nothing outweighs the Tejas card. So I'm going to play that as my first card of the game. It's not removed. It still is useful as a raid card at other times, but we're going to reduce US velocity to 0. Yay. That'll slow things down a little bit. Draw a Mexican unit from the regroup and place it in the disputed zone. And we get a really good group of Lancers there. This is Santa Anna's famed battle cav showing up. Alright, and and that's it. Alright, well, that's kind of interesting, I guess. What about the U.S.? Well, the U.S. has a bunch of supply events. Now, what I saw yesterday indicated there's only one supply event per turn. This doesn't help. If that's the case, there probably is some one successful supply event. These just say you roll to see if the supply happens. Right now, having the supply happen doesn't really help, but every single one of these cards is for supply. I'm going to look at them, think about them, and come back. Well, here's what's interesting. The U.S. wants to get Kearney out of here. He doesn't want to suffer a supply effect. So here's what he's going to do. He's going to play his Indian Uprising card to move Kearney. But it's not clear when the supply check happens. It happens on the play of the card, but everywhere where it's kind of listed, it's not clear, is it as I'm playing the card or after I take the effect of the card. It does not really specify that, and it strikes me as a big difference, right? I mean, if I know the supply event's out of play, then I can take an action. If I don't know the supply effect is out of play, or in a situation like this, I'm playing it and I may be causing the supply check on myself. I have to come to a decision on this, and the rules are just not clear enough to do it directly. So for example, here, each card allows you to execute an action. That's 9.1. There's no real indication of ordering here. And then it goes to supply event, but then it goes to the specific things about the cards. I'm going to do it first at all times, because there was some hint about a big card with a supply event being an advantage, i.e. you get the supply event out of the way and then maybe get to do that action. I remember vaguely, you know, it's present, but I only remember it vaguely how it is, and I can't find it, and it certainly didn't specify the order. So I'm going to roll for the supply event, and we get a 1. That's a 0. There is a supply event, and that's very bad for Kearney. Okay, let's see what happened. Well, we have to find the rules for it, because when I check supply, I don't actually get the effects of it anywhere. I get the supply event and the supply wagon event deck, which are both 9.2. They're just explained here I don't actually have what the effect is listed there in that index. I'm looking up supply, and it's not where I'd expect it. Oh, good, I'm in the example of play. I know that'll help. And yes, that did not terribly help me understand the game, as it almost always doesn't. There we go, supply and control 6. You'd think they would have referenced that. And yes, I'm getting very angry at this game. Okay, out of supply. These are effects while it's happening. Alright, well, I'm going to come back again after I find out what happens. I think half the force is destroyed, but I can't find it anywhere yet. Ah, yes, the actual event is actually where they said it was. Great. Unfortunately, they still don't refer you to the other place where you trace supply lines. But yeah, eliminate half of all steps in out-of-supply forces. Well, I should be right about supply here. Supply line, sources from Mexico or PW cities, they're in pretty good shape. They're all in them, essentially. So, our only real problem here is this guy. But he's in a space in Texas. Isn't that a supply source? Oh, I hope not. A friendly Texas space. Okay, well, the raid doesn't do a damn bit of good. And I don't know why I was moving Kearney to begin with. Yeah, there's no supply problem. We've had a supply check. I can move Kearney, and I'm going to do something other than what I planned on. Let's see where he's moving. He's got a strategic rating of 1. He's going to have a movement allowance of 7. Now, if the movement allowance is underlined, and I don't know if we have any examples of that, that's going to cause a problem. Now, for him moving, though, because of the heat, he's going to take an issue. Now, he's going to head... He's got to be careful here, because he can't get too far away from where he is. So my thought was to go after Canales with him, but that won't work. The river connection is only +1 movement point. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But he'd be able to trace 1, 2... Oh, those aren't clear. Yeah, that's not easy to see. Those are +1 each. These little lines, that... Not for my eyes, at least. He would not be in supply if he goes here. Out that far. He doesn't have the wagon. So I'm not sure what exactly to do with him. I don't think he can beat Arista. I don't think he can get down that far. I think I made a foolish move by moving him. And I may just not want to. Alright, what other actions could I have taken with that point? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I just don't know what I can do with him. I could move forces up here, but I've got this settler card that's going to put stuff in there. I think I have screwed up by moving my card. Now, how do I remember that I've got a supply event? There's got to be a little chit for that, right? But I don't think so. Oh wait, we've got a card for Tejas. And this has a chit? What does it need a chit for? I don't know. I'll put it down up here to indicate that I used it, because I want to get it out of my damn pile of chits. Yeah. I'm not seeing anything. Oh. I'm not seeing anything to indicate that the supply event has taken place. Alright, well, what can I do with him? I mean, seriously. I can't get him into supply. 2. I could go down here, risk a battle, and not get much. I'm going to move here, and I think I'm going to try to take control of the space. And yes, I'm taking forever here. Let's try to look at what this says. Well, we got place control markers is 13.1. I think I've got to be sitting there to place one. It takes forever to conquer anything here, apparently. Okay, I think I'd rather move somewhere a little bit further in. So now this province, green here, where is this? Takes 6 for me to take it. Now I can take 1, 2, 3 from here. That's probably the best I can do. So I moved here. With a card, I can start extending my control into there. I'm in supply from this space as far as I can tell. Now another raid could cause problems there. Okay. Well, that was 2 card plays. I'm pretty exhausted after all that. So I'm going to take a break, as I like to do, make some tea, and maybe get through a little bit more of this. Alright, still slogging our way through the first turn, and damn, I thought I loaded this up. Let's see what I got. Nah, that was my mistake. Okay, so one thing I think I didn't mention, because I didn't do it, Kearney, when he moved, had to take that attrition effect of the heat. So he took 1 step loss from that. That's been taken care of. Now the Mexican has to go again, because he went first. Looking at his cards, I made the decision, I don't really want to do things. I'm going to play the malaria card. Now the question is what I want to hit. It's +1 to the die roll because of the heat. Do I want to hit Kearney's force? Am I going to go interfere with Kearney? That might be a good move. Or am I more worried about what good old Zach Taylor can do here? I'm not sure. I kind of want to, if I'm going to move, take care of the Potosi issue. But what other actions am I going to do this turn? This would be useful in combat. I would be able to do this. I'm going to hit Kearney because I think I'm going to try to attack him. So I roll a 9, that's a 10, that's 3 step losses. Now, what are the restrictions on these steps? There don't appear to be any. Which means I'm going to take 1, 2, he goes back in the cup. And for the third, I don't want to lose my combined arms advantage. I'll take that. That's the Mexican card. Go over here, and I can get rid of some of these guerrillas. We already had this supply event. And again, I don't have a way of marking this. The only way I can mark it is to put this card up here. There's no counter for it. There doesn't seem to be anything to take care of that. Okay. What about this one? I want to play, but I'd like to shoot those guerrillas out of the way. Wow, but I'd also like to get control of things. Yeah, I'm gonna knock the guerrillas out of the way. I roll 1 die for each one. It's removed on a 0 through 4. I think I got 3 of them there. 1, 2, 3. That was a... Oh, I got a 4th one. Alright, that was a complete failure of a play. I don't roll for another supply event. We've had one. We go over to the Mexicans and they say, ah, we're going to launch our attack. Now, I can command 7 units. I've got this baggage train. 1, 2. I'm going to take the baggage train with me because what I'm planning on doing here is an invasion of Mexico. My victory conditions are somewhat dependent on that. 1, 2, 3. Now, I could try to intercept at Rio Salado. Don't particularly want to do that. I've got to take attrition for movement here. And I got a lot of cav, it looks like. So I'm going to take a cav unit as attrition. And now I move in for 4. And here, we're in battle. Well, sort of. I can try to avoid the battle. Now, trying to avoid it reduces the US's chances of succeeding in the battle. Presumably, I know what the opponent has. It's a lot of troops, but it doesn't look like good stuff. Kearney thinks he can fight this. So, I'm going to spend this. Here's what's going to happen. Kearney is going to fight the battle. He's not going to try to withdraw. And we go to the battle procedure. Well, we forgot to draw an action card. Oh, God. His activation rating's 2. He had 6 movement points coming out of here. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 2 movement points for battle. How much does that cost? Well, gosh. Be nice if we had that. There it is. This is going to be a normal attack. That's going to be -2 to the firepower. Now, I've got little counters here. Firepower from units and total firepower. Presumably, I'm supposed to use them on this track, although it doesn't tell you that anywhere. So at this point, the Mexican total firepower is -2. Just to remember that, but let's keep going. I'm not sure what firepower from units is different from total firepower, to tell you the truth. Let's keep going and look at what we're going to see here. Attacker pays the movement cost. Cav and guerrillas can withdraw now. A Mexican player can add a guerrilla from hiding. I haven't put one in hiding. Stupid me. Would have helped, perhaps? I don't know. I do want to get one in there. The attacker and the defender play response cards. Well, I'm going to play this Baptism of Fire. This is going to get removed. Calculate the force point of all friendly units. Lead, committed, and others. Double it. To that total, add other force point additions normally. At the end of the battle, take 2 additional step losses. What? Okay, well, we'll figure this out. Calculate the force point for all units. Double it. Okay, well, I have nothing to deal with for the U.S. for the battle. For cards. So, the attacker and the defender designate their lead units and command units. Now what we do is we take a little, there's a battle space marker, which is useful because I could very easily forget. And what do we have here? Well, we have Arista. I get to decide a lead unit. I'm going to make that my lights. I don't really want to get them hurt. And I'm going to commit, well, I'm not allowed to commit. I have nothing with stars, so I can't commit anything. Ouch. Okay. I have a star, but here's what I need. I need, and we'll see what the US has here. I need units like this with stars, which I can commit. Now, McKierney can only commit 1 unit. I'll commit this. I've got a lead unit I can put in play, and I got this. Alright, let's see what we got here. So, I'm supposed to do what? Calculate the FP from units and all other sources. Okay, well, let's do that. Both sides, the value of the lead unit is plus that value. Okay, my lead unit in each case is, well, my lead unit is 2 and 3. Alright? But I'm going to have to do things in a little bit. Double value of committed units. The U.S. was only able to commit 1 unit. I can commit 2 units, actually, and I will. So that's 3, 6 more firepower for the U.S. Now those guys take a step loss each. and I can just pop him out of there. He doesn't affect the combat anymore. His points have been calculated, but I gotta try to remember if I go back and recalculate. Okay, now all other units are +1. Oh, I should have set these guys up. Okay, so for the Mexicans, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other units. That puts me to a 7. Now that 5, here's the point with that. Those other units are the guy who's flipped over, he would pair up with other flipped units. He's only really a half point as far as I can tell from the rules. But now we take the effect of this card, we double his units. What his total strength is going to go up to 14. Is that firepower from units? I don't know. I don't know how much this all matters. Okay. So right now I'm actually at 14 and 12. Okay. For the US, I only have 1 additional unit. And now I have the combined arms advantage, which is pretty minor. I don't have an army on either side. Neither force is out of supply by my judgment. Battle cards. We already played these. Field command. There isn't one, by my understanding. Let me peek and make sure. I think that's just the special leaders. Indeed, that's correct. Okay. So now, where am I after that? Column. Okay, so the attacker. The attacker, we got the -2 for his normal attack. The defender, I don't see any defensive values here. So there we are. Now we have the efficiency die roll. And yeah, this is kind of a complex procedure, but I think it'll get fairly simple. I think it'll not be as mechanically painful as we go on. Tactical rating in the force. I've got a 0. US has a 1. Hey, wouldn't it be nice if I had different colored dice here? I should probably grab some. This is what comes with the game, though. Okay, so let's take a look here for the Mexican roll. And they get a big 9. That's a problem. Oh, no, it isn't. Yeah, it's a problem. They're going to lose an extra artillery step. Now, they don't have one with them, so that's not a big deal. But they rolled a 9, which is brisk efficiency. And that's just, it doesn't really matter. The number matters is all. And now, let's go to the US, who's at +1 here. And they rolled a 9, which goes to a 10, which is superior efficiency. Well, that's not quite what I expected. Okay, let's take a look. Our strength points, the Mexican strength points, were at 12. With a 9, they're going to do 4 hits. And the American strength points were at 11. It looks like it's all they have. And they're going to do 6. And to resolve those losses, and come back in a moment. Okay, I lied. I'll handle them right now. Alright, so 6 plus 2 for the baptism of fire card. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I gotta take 2 more, or 3 more. 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna take these hits. And throw them. Yeah. Surprise Mexican troops show up in Texas. And throw them into here. And now we go over to here, and they've got to take 6. Now, I've already taken the bonus losses here. 1, 2, 3, 4. The U.S. forces wiped out. What does that matter? Uh-oh. I don't know. I'll be back in a moment. Well, the fact that the U.S. inflicted more casualties means that they actually survived. and I'm going to restore a step to them, and they get that back on the map. Now, we have a problem, which is, first of all, is there any political will change here? Oh boy. Alright, I'll be back in a bit. I gotta load this. Okay, so political will-wise, I can't remember how many units were engaged. Gosh, that would have been helpful to remember. But I think the Mexicans had at least 5 units. And I'm pretty sure they didn't have 10. So Mexico loses a point of political will there. And wow. Some sort of exile roll there. I wonder what that's all about. Return? I don't know. Hard to tell. Okay. Guess I'll have to look that up too, but I know that Santa Anna returns from exile, but I thought that was through other means. I don't know. Alright. It's not an army. The enemy force wasn't an army. And it looks like none of these others are affecting. Capture the enemy baggage train. Well, did that happen? I don't know. It may have. I have to try to figure that out. I'll come back in a moment. So I think Arista was able to withdraw with the baggage train, and that puts the Mexicans here. This card leaves play permanently. Not sure how much good it did, but I guess it was an interesting little piece. And now we're back to the U.S. To finish things off, well, the U.S. has a couple of plays, both of which are kind of interesting. What I'm going to do... See, I think the end part, the cleanup stage in the game, is going to go fairly quickly. So I'm going to load this up after this battle that we just resolved and come back with the U.S. turn.